Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Happy to find you here. There you have behind me, Tito Jackson, rest in peace as of September 15th, just a couple days ago. And I just want to pay homage to this wonderful, gifted, talented man, in which I don't think it needs any introduction. Everyone knows the Jacksons, the Jackson Five, the Jackson family, the royalty and music, the family that are the kings of pop as a family. And definitely Tito is a primary part of that. So I just want to honor his life just a little bit. And I always find that, you discover something when a person passes that you didn't know before. So maybe I'll share something with you here because we all know the Jacksons already. Most of us grew up grew up with them. But Tito was born, of course, they're all born in Gary, Indiana, but he's born October 15th, 1953. So he was just a year, a month before his 71st birthday. And I will circle back to now we have the findings of how he passed, but I'll end there. But for now, let's just take a quick journey of his wonderful, talented life. October 15th, 1953, so he was 70 years old, a month before his 71st birthday. And we all know their music, but I have always viewed him as what I would call a quiet, independent spirit, a rebellious spirit. Now, I value the word rebellious. I value the word prodigal, which most people don't. It's because we don't seem to understand it. We always look the word rebellious. And actually, I'll do a separate video on that to get more into that. But rebellious doesn't mean that you refuse or you are being cantankerous or you're being stubborn. It often means that you prefer to do something a different way. You don't want to you don't want to follow the pattern that's already been set. It's often an independent thinker. It's often independent person and just doing things differently. And by the way, the same thing with the word prodigal. Prodigal has always been viewed as the person went far away and he went away from his family and he just squandered all of his. The prodigal son was extremely wealthy. And the word prodigal means lavish. Okay, so does it, so all of that, but again, I don't want to take from Tito's, but I found that he had a rebellious spirit, an independent spirit. And let me give you a couple examples as to why I've always thought that of him. Quiet, not necessarily have to take the center stage, is on the stage, but doesn't have to take it, is a critical, crucial, primary piece of the Jackson Five, but he's not overshadowing anyone or never seemed to come across that way. The reason I always viewed him as an independent spirit, a rebellious spirit, is let me give you just a couple, maybe two or three examples. One is the fact that and it's also in the the movie The Jacksons, which you probably have seen many times. It's just as I've seen it many times. He defied his dad by playing his dad's guitar while his dad was at work, and he was practicing with it, and he broke one of the chords. And in the movie, Joe Jackson, the dad, comes home and really, I mean, handles him about why are you messing with my guitar? You couldn't break it. What do you know about playing the guitar? And his rebellious ways showed him what he knew about playing the guitar. He was standing up for his talent, standing up for what he did, uh, exhibiting his skills. And his father became very impressed with him that he actually played it better than he did. So that's what I mean by a rebellious spirit. Now, and so he began to play as the Jackson Five began to um, enter into concerts and ended up being discovered for Motown and became very famous very quickly, I would say. So another example number 2 of this rebellious independent spirit. Right as the Jacksons were forming and all the girls were going, oh, so crazy, to Jackson 5, oh, and all of that. He wanted to marry his sweetheart. At the time, he was 18 years old. And boy, his dad, his parents, none of them wanted that. First of all, it is too young, but he wanted to marry her. And he did marry her at that age. Now, they're going on tour, and he's young, and all the groupie girls liked him, but he wanted to be married. And so, despite what his parents said, he married this person, Dolores Martez, who goes by the name of Dee Dee. And together they stayed married, I believe, for about 20 years and had 3 beautiful sons who also now have a group of their own called 3 T's. But that was another way that he defied in its rebellious spirit. Not argumentative, not troublesome, just saying, this is what I want. This is what I choose for my life. And he did that. And then another example, I'd say a third way, and this was really stood out to me, which maybe perhaps you're not acquainted with, or perhaps you knew about it and it was so long ago. This is a refresher for you. He had divorced Dee Dee, but they were still co-parenting their 3 sons. And Dee Dee was found deceased in a swimming pool when he went to visit, I believe. She was found face down in a swimming pool, and they called it an accidental drowning. Tito did not believe that it was an accidental drowning. He felt that she was an excellent swimmer. She didn't drink. He couldn't even imagine a slip, trip, or fall. And he pushed the detectives for a further analysis of that. And they stuck to the fact that it was accidental. But Tito did not give up. For 4 years, he continued to press for a deeper investigation until finally it was discovered that it was not an accidental drowning and that she was actually second-degree murdered by a businessman that had been there. And he drowned her. So he had the instinct and the insight to go, no, 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 and to stick with the authorities who seemingly had, at that time, they thought, made the right assessment. But Tito pushed back, just like he did for playing the guitar, just like he did for marrying Dee Dee. And he said, no, I want to do it my way. So this is what I mean about the spirit of this man. So he was also heard saying on many occasions that playing the guitar was soothing for him, and that he considered himself a closeted blues player, that while he loved the pop with his brothers, that he also enjoyed just sitting down and just playing a bluesy song on his guitar. Now, that's something that I didn't know about. Wasn't aware of that, but I can imagine that. What else did I find that was very interesting? In 2016, he launched his album with a big hit, which, oh my God, I love this song. You should hear it if you're not familiar. It's called Get It, Baby. And it features Big Daddy Kane. That album, the title of the album is Tito Time, and it topped the Billboard charts. Now, in 2016, by that time, there was all of the Spotify and all of the music being downloaded on Apple Music and on YouTube and all of that. It was very hard to get your album noticed in what was the traditional ways. But he managed to do it. So there's that rebellious again. He managed to do it and it topped the Billboard charts and did very well in Japan. So well in Japan that it paved a new lane for him, in which he actually performed a couple years later, I believe 2019, right before the pandemic, actually, at a major Living Legends Foundation. And that also opened the door of an opportunity for him and his sons, because his sons was his opening act. Now, his sons, they have a group called 3T, as I mentioned earlier. And so these are some facts that are more about him and not the Jacksons, more about him and not the Jackson Five, more about him and not the Jackson family, more about him and not the legacy of the Jacksons, because he was hardly rarely the one that you'd be talking about so much if you picked out a Jackson. You pick out a Jackson, of course, you talk about Michael, you talk about Janet, you talk about Jermaine, you talk about Marlon, you talk about Jackie. You might eventually get to Tito. And Tito was always there. You knew Tito was there, but he wasn't really the first person you start talking about. But we're talking about you now, Tito. So get it, baby. I hope that you learned something new about this wonderful man with this, what I call semi-rebellious spirit, which these are the spirits that make the world better. And he did it through his music. And I hope you enjoyed this short video honoring his life. Good night.